Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm here to speak on the confirmation of Steven Menashi to be a judge on the United States Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit. And we've grown accustomed to the violation of norms around here, kind of a dumbing down of the institution. So by all of those standards, I would ordinarily be opposing Mr. Menashi. We have disposed of the blue slip convention for circuit court nominees, and I'll just warn my colleagues again that there is a price to be paid for that. The blue slip for circuit court nominees is the thing that connects a circuit court nominee to a particular state, so that an Arkansas judge on the Circuit Court of Appeals, or the Rhode Island judge on our Circuit Court of Appeals, or the Montana judge on their Circuit Court of Appeals only is the Arkansas judge or the Rhode Island judge or the Montana judge because we honor that blue slip. And in another presidency, when the shoe is on the other foot, I don't want to hear any of my colleagues who've thrown this circuit court blue slip out complain when somebody who's not even from their state gets appointed to the so-called state seat on the circuit court. In addition, we've dealt with a lot of unqualified candidates. I think this administration has set the record for ABA-designated unqualified candidates. This guy has never tried a case, never taken a deposition. He effectively has not practiced law. When he has tried to practice law, it's been a disaster. He's been the counsel for the Department of Education and managed to have the various programs that he advised on all thrown out in court and his secretary held in contempt. So not a guy who, when you get him near legal decisions, comes up with a real winning record. Moreover, he refused extremely arrogantly to answer really basic questions, even to the point of frustrating Republican members of the committee when he was a witness before us, and has refused to answer related questions for the record as well. So for all of those reasons, this is a pretty undesirable candidate for the federal bench. But it gets way, way worse. If you look at what Mr. Menashi has said over the years, it is quite an astonishing window into his mind. With respect to affirmative action, he has compared universities, I'm quoting him here, he's compared universities cataloging students according to race on college applications and official documents, which you obviously do as part of any affirmative action program. He has compared that to the Nuremberg laws. If you look at the issue of sexual violence, he has made fun of Take Back the Night marches and described women active and concerned about sexual violence as, his words here, campus gynocentrics, or maybe he pronounces it gynocentrics, I don't know. Campus gynocentrists. When you're talking about sexual violence, that's just not a normal word to use. When you're talking about affirmative action, references to Nazi Nuremberg laws is just not normal. He's argued that gun regulations are pointless, I'm quoting him here, pointless and self-defeating because guns reduce crime. Really? Ask the victims of the firearms massacres happening at such a horrifying rate in this country how guns reduce crime. With respect to the rights that have been enshrined in our Constitution and recognized in Roe versus Wade giving women the right to some degree of self-determination about when to have children. He described the rights codified in Roe v. Wade, I quote him again here, as radical abortion rights advocated by campus feminists. Good luck on an issue related to the woman's right to choose, getting a fair hearing from this character once he's enrobed. He mocked the gay rights group Human Rights Campaign, which he said incessantly exploited the slaying of Matthew Shepard for both financial and political benefit. We engage in some pretty acid rhetoric around here, but about a young man who was murdered for being gay, that's just appalling. And if you are in his court on an issue in which the rights of LGBT folks are involved, there's almost no way you could believe that a judge who had thought or said anything as vile as that could ever give you a fair hearing. And with respect to the question of diversity, which many of us consider to be one of America's greatest traits, social scientists, he said, have found that greater ethnic heterogeneity, i.e. social diversity, is associated with lower social trust. Ethnically heterogeneous societies exhibit less political and civic engagement, less effective government institutions, and fewer public goods. First of all, I don't think that's true. I don't think that stands scrutiny. But second of all, it's just a kind of creepy thing to be saying, that we'd be a better country if we marshaled ourselves together into our ethnic enclaves, which, quote, provide the groundwork for social trust and political solidarity. Not in my world. Not in Rhode Island. That's not the way we work. I don't think that's the way America works. So whether you're looking at diversity, whether you're looking at gay rights, whether you're looking at a woman's right to choose, whether you're looking at safe regulation of guns, whether you're looking at sexual violence against women, whether you're looking at affirmative action in colleges, you can find something truly creepy that this individual has said. That, on top of all the other disqualifying factors, makes him perhaps the worst candidate that Donald Trump has tried to put on the federal bench. And by the way, that's in a crop of doozies. And the problem here is that people are going to come into these courts and they're going to have a feeling that no American litigant should have, and that is that I've got a judge who is predisposed against me, that it doesn't matter what my cause is, it matters who I am. And sadly, I don't think this is the bug in these Trump judicial appointments. I think this is the feature. I think it is the intention of the dark money-fueled apparatus that has got this assembly line of unusual and peculiar judges cranked onto our courts to actually make sure that our courts are more likely to rule for certain people than others, that they're more likely to rule for polluters, that they're more likely to rule for gun companies, that they're more likely to rule for dark money political operators. There are essentially, at this point, with this nominee to a Circuit Court of Appeals, no standards left. No standards left. I can't imagine anybody much worse. With that, I yield the floor. It's a sad day.